Hi guys, welcome back to another video and to what I'm hoping will be a new series on the channel. So it's sort of come about because you might have noticed over the last couple of months there'll be like a month or 5, 6, 7 weeks without a video. And the reasons for that is because with YouTube, unless you've bought something, you know, new guitar, a new pedal, that it's just hard to think of something worth filming, and I can't buy new gear all the time. And with, as far as the sponsored content is concerned, I have started to get quite a lot of emails asking for that sort of stuff. But 99% of the time, it's stuff that just wouldn't be genuine. It's stuff that it wouldn't come across right. So I've turned 99% of them down, sort of thing. And it left me kind of going, well, what do? I need something to film, but it has to be something that I want to do, and that to certain people will be worth watching. So my idea is that I'm going to take certain songs, sections of songs, you know, that for me just make me want to either learn them, play guitar. It doesn't matter how many times I play them, I just instantly become re-inspired to pick up the guitar and get playing again. So that is what we're going to do. And I think the format will be, we'll do a little bit like we did in the intro. Then we'll talk about the song itself, why I like the song itself. And then at the end, just as the last piece, we'll do like a little lesson breakdown of how to play that particular part of the song. And then we'll always have that at the end, so that, you know, you might already know how to play it, so we'll just leave it at the end. And I just think that would make quite a nice, you know, video that I would enjoy making. But also, if someone watches it and it's a song they haven't heard before or they haven't learned before, I think all round it could be a good format. But it is a brand new format, and those sort of things on YouTube, they don't tend to do that well. So let me know what you think of it and we'll get right into it. So the song we're going to start off with then is Be My Friend by Free. And this track, the sort of backstory behind the track, it's actually from their 4th studio album called Highway, which came out in 1970, the same year as the previous album, probably more famous album, which is Fire and Water. So 1970, Fire and Water comes out. 6, 7 months later, Highway comes out. It's the same year they played Isle of Wight. So Free in 1970, bearing in mind they're all still pretty young, were absolutely, you know, flying. And by the time they got to recording Highway, the 4th album, the album that this song's on, you had a few things sort of going on. So you had All Right Now, which was already a massive hit by that point, and also Hendrix died during the recording of the Highway sessions, sort of thing. So loads of interesting kind of musical history going on around that time. And the writing credits for that sort of time are mostly given to Andy Fraser, the bassist, and Paul Rodgers, the vocalist, who is probably in my top 5 rock vocalists of all time, if not top 3. The guy, you know, I think his singing is amazing. And Andy Fraser, of course, before Free, was in none other than John Mayall and the Blues Breakers. And the more you kind of look into the history of especially for someone my age who wasn't around, kind of thing, you know, you look into the history of that band and you just think, how did so much talent come up through that one band? It's just unbelievable, kind of thing. So, you know, a lot of interesting backstory to what was going on around that time. But of course, what we're interested in today is the guitar player, Paul Kossoff. So, you know, apparently as well, but like I said, bearing in mind this was after the success and, you know, people's obsession with All Right Now. And Paul Kossoff apparently much preferred songs like Be My Friend, you know, songs that were a bit heavier, a bit more personal. And although that entire album, the Highway album, it didn't have anything like the success of Fire and Water. And after that, I think they split up, got back together, then split up again. And of course, we all know, you know, the rest of the history with Paul Kossoff and stuff. So, you know, it sort of marked the beginning of what was to come, I suppose. But the reason why I love this song so much, and I'm hoping to do a lot of these episodes, and you will notice a theme, like, for me, lyrics is never the draw in a song. I can listen to a song 1,000 times and still not even know the lyrics. They just, to me, they just form part of the melody and they don't matter, kind of thing. What attracts me to a song is purely melody. And I'm kind of like that no matter the style of music as well. If the melody is draws you in, then I will be a lifelong fan of that track. It's kind of just what draws me in. And this song, the guitar melody, which on the original is actually quite kind of buried in the mix. It's definitely there, but it's not right at the forefront. You've got the piano and stuff that seems to be more at the forefront. But the melody, that looping intro, to me it's like, I mean, without getting too ethereal, it's sort of like a comfort blanket. You hear it and you're just in that song. And for me, picking up the guitar and playing it, and it's one of them things where it's open to many sort of interpretations. You can just loop the intro again and again and again and just accentuate different parts of it. And as a player, it's just a really inspiring, fun thing to play. So that's kind of, you know, going to be a theme throughout these episodes. It's songs that have that pull to me. And this song absolutely has it. So I think we'll look at sort of how to play it on guitar just to finish off. And it's reasonably simple, and there's, again, a couple of different ways to play it. So let's look at that. I'll bring the camera in so you can look at the guitar, and we'll go over the few parts that make up that intro. Alright then, so hopefully you can kind of see what's going on here. So starting with the intro then, which is just this. So what we're doing there is we're barring the 6th fret of the D and G, and then hammering onto the 8th of the D string and back. So just sort of quite Hendrixy, I suppose, with the hammer-ons. And then we're doing the same thing again on the A and D strings. So bar the 6th fret, hammer onto the 8th on the A, and then back. So we got, and that follows the piano chords as they go down. And then we've got this chord here. And you'll never hear me telling you it's a this, that and the other chord, because I just don't know the chords. I just figure out the sounds. It sounds like this. And this is a little bit of an awkward chord, to be fair. It's probably the hardest thing to get into for the whole, you know, what we're going to look at today. But the fret numbers on the A string, you've got the 6th fret with your little finger. Then with your 3rd finger, you've got the D string 5th fret. And then with your 1st finger, you've got the G string 3rd fret. And with your middle finger, the 4th string, the 4th fret on the B string. So you got this sound. You can always think of it as like, imagine the Keith Richards chord there, but bringing the little finger over to add the 6th fret of the A. So then you got, and then that's the intro, and we'll end on that same line as well as we go into, you know, finish the last part of the intro kind of thing. And then the main sort of riff, the sort of meat and potatoes of why I like this so much is this. So that to me, I mean, is just a beautiful bit of guitar playing. It just speaks to me, and the way you play it is similar to how we started with the, you know, barring the 6th fret of the D and G and then going on to the 8th of the D. And I don't think Paul Kossoff would use his thumb to play the bass. So you get this or this. Now, when you're playing on your own, using the thumb to bar the 6th fret of the low E gives you a more fun kind of sound to play with. But obviously he had Andy Fraser on the bass and keys and stuff like that, and you know, he didn't need extra bass in there, so he just probably went like not bothering with the bass strings. So again, hammer the 6th fret onto the 8th fret of the D, so we're going. And for rhythms, it's just best to have the song on as well and just re-listen and capture the sort of rhythms of it. But again, it's one of them songs where it's very open to interpretation. So I quite like just arpeggiating it with the bass string. So you got. sort of something like this. And just messing around with it and just coming up with your own kind of way, because again, it so lends itself to that. But the way he would do it, he would sort of, I'll try and do it a bit slower. Something like that. So you're doing the hammer on in the rhythm kind of thing. And when you get there, you want to sort of do 2 stabs at the higher strings. So, and immediately go into this slide riff here. So you go, and what you want to catch for there is you're doing the 8th, so 8th on the A, slide that to the 10th. So, and then you're using the same kind of shape as you were over here, just 2 frets up. So slide from the 8th to the 10th on the A string, and then you've already barred the D and G on the 8th. So, oh sorry, actually you tap the A again because it's part of that rhythm. So, do you know what I mean? So 8th to 10th on the A, slide, and then press it again, and that sets you kind of on beat for the next part, if you know what I mean. So you got, and all you're doing for that is just walking up that shape in a kind of arpeggio. So 8th to 10th, 8th barring on the D and G, and that finishes the kind of, you know, the first walk of it. And then we go again. And if you just learn that, you can loop that for an hour because it's just so fun to play. And again, arpeggiate it rather than strum it, mess around with it. It's a lot of fun. So we do that, I think it's 5 or 6 times. Again, listen to the record and you'll know where you are in the song. And then instead of starting again, we do this. So we're barring the 6th fret of the A and D, and play the A and D together and slide it to the 8th. And we do this. So we go, which again is just a lovely, simple sounding guitar part. It's so good. You just slide 6 to 8 on the A and D, and kind of pick the individual strings like this. I try and do it slow. And you go back. So that's just one shape kind of thing. You know, 6-8, 6-6, 8-8, back to 6-6 on the A and D. And then we come all the way down to this kind of power chord on the A and D, 1st and 3rd. And it kind of stops there. So, and then we can resume that again. And then the next part, he does that just once. Back to that bit. And then the final gorgeous little piece of this section is, it's a little bit trickier. It's got this Keith Richards shape again. It's actually the same shape we learned earlier, but done on the it starts, so bar with your first finger, bar the D, G and B strings on the 8th fret, and then put your 3rd finger on the 10th fret of the D and your middle finger on the 9th fret of the B. So we got this kind of shape. But you kind of don't want to play the B string. That's kind of just there as a bit of a mute and to keep the shapes familiar, if that makes sense. And then we got this kind of rhythm. So it's something like that. And again, listen to the track and play with the rhythm of it. So we're going, keep your first finger across barred on the 8th fret of the D, G and B. 3rd finger on the 10th fret of the D. And we're sort of going, using our little finger to hammer on to the 11th of the D. So it's kind of like this. and then we kind of walk it back. So we go, there's the hammer on, come back to your first shape, where you've got your third finger on the 10th of a D, and then just go back to the bar we set up in the first place. We don't move the bar at any point, the first finger bar there. So it's something like that. Walk it up and walk it back down. And then you finish with your little finger on the 11th fret of the A. Something like that. And then we come back to what we learned earlier, which is the A and D string 6 to 8 slide. But instead of going and finishing there, we go. We come back there, kind of thing. A little bit out of tune there, but we'll live with it for the sake of this. And then once we've, figured out the order of all that, it ends back where it started with the. And then the song continues on. So hopefully there's enough in there for you to kind of mess around with and figure out how it goes. And I know everyone's got a very different way of learning songs, but for me, just put the song on and use your ears and try and get the rhythm right. And then once you kind of can play along with the song, just change it and mess around with it. It's one of them songs that it really is open. So like I said, with the arpeggiating on this bit there. And it's just a lot of fun to mess around with. So hopefully that lesson makes some sense. So there you go then. That's kind of I suppose this is like a demo of what I want this series to be, and that's the first time I've ever tried to teach something like to a camera. I think I might have done it once before, but again, new territory for me. So in the comments, if you could just let me know, if you like the series at all, because I could do a lot of these. There's a lot of those kind of songs that I love, kind of thing. So let me know what you think. Let me know if the format's any good. And just generally give me some feedback. It'd be much appreciated, sort of thing. And like I say, hopefully you enjoy it and we can do some more and it does all right. So that's it for this video, and thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you again very soon.